Is Alexander Isak staking the claim for best striker in the Premier League? I'll go first. I watch Alexander Isak week after week, and there is an immense amount of jealousy where I'm like, bro, this man should be at my club and he should not be playing for Newcastle. I know a lot of Arsenal fans probably feel the exact same way, but what he is doing, and you know, when he was at Real Sociedad, and he was doing similar things. My biggest concern for him was injuries because he was getting picking up a few while he was in La Liga. Alexander Isak now is currently on an 8-game Premier League scoring streak. The record is held by Jamie Vardy with 11. Even when Jamie Vardy did it, it felt unreal and unpredictable, especially with Leicester and that whole story. But this feels a little bit more like he could actually break the record. Like the way he's playing with a certain level of confidence that I mean, it's hard to compare. Jamie Vardy's that 2015-16 season was ridiculous. It felt like he had a superpower that nobody else did. But Alexander Isak this season, he just looks like the striker that kind of has it all. And it's not Erling Haaland plays in the same league, so it's hard to just say like he is the best striker. But as far as like on form and playing on a team that is allowing him to express himself to the best of his ability, it's hard to kind of disagree with that, even that statement of like him being the best striker right now in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think both can be true, right? And it's funny because Messi had commented on this at some point, and coming from one prolific goal scorer and talking about how strikers have this capacity to have these streaks, these pockets where they just can't not score goals. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I think once, an attacker catches fire, I mean, you catch that lightning in the bottle and you ride it out for as long as you can. Do I think that is emblematic of the best striker, the best in the league, the best all time? There's tons of records to break, but I think that he's now put his name permanently in this conversation and necessarily into the history books.
Yeah, this is even a thing where I forgot who the player was, but there was a post-match interview with one of the center backs from Newcastle, and they basically asked him like, oh, Alexander Isak, he's scoring like crazy, and he basically said like, yeah, I gotta convince him to stay. Where this is every time Alexander Isak is thriving and he's scoring great goals, there's a little bit of, would it be dumb of Newcastle to hold on to him when his stock is rising after every game? And let's say he does break this record. Like there's a real kind of question here. Like, should he stay at this club? Like, does he think the project is ambitious enough, or should he just go to what historically is like, especially in the last 10, 15 years, the Arsenals, the Manchester Cities or whatever, and just really compete at a really high level? And maybe he wants to compete a little bit better for Champions League. But that seems to be the decision now. Like, do Newcastle keep him, and should he stay there?
I mean, I feel like that's more than one question, right? Like, do Newcastle need the money enough to profit, or do they want to see a squad built around him, right, which isn't outside of the question? I feel like that's a reasonable thing to start to look at when you have somebody this productive consistently. Is it something that Isak wants? Is there more for him outside of this? Does he want to be consistently in Champions League play? It's a big world of questions, and it really depends on one side. How much are you willing to give and how much are you willing to take? Mm-hmm. I think for now, it's in Newcastle's best interest to retain him and do everything that they can to.
Sure. Yeah. I'm a little, I'm impressed. I'm a little shocked he's doing so well. I honestly did not. I thought he would be a perfectly fine Premier League striker, but I think what he's doing again, and we're talking about him in the likes of that 2015 Jamie Vardy season. Do I think Newcastle are going to win the league? No, I do not. But for him to do what he is doing, what I love about him is that he is not just getting goals, getting goal contributions. He's also there's not many strikers in the Premier League that take on defenders 1v1. Like he can drill. He could be a winger easily if he really wanted to be, and he's just so diverse in his skills that that's what's kind of confusing defenders and stuff like that. So no, this is Newcastle. Like I said earlier, I'm incredibly jealous. I wish. I'm an Everton fan. Alexander Isak could probably do a little bit better than what we got right now.
The enthusiasm in that. You're like, feel bad for me.
But it's also a thing, Arsenal, did they make a bid on him or they at least wanted him? Everybody was saying like, yo, go after this guy.
I'm pretty sure everyone had scout eyes on him.
They obviously,
hey, what's the opportunity
They spent
here?
the money on Declan Rice, and not to say that was it wasn't a bad decision, but bro, it's like coulda, shoulda, woulda. I think for a lot of teams, but Newcastle, took the risk. They spent a lot of money on him, and he's arguably the best striker in the Premier League right now. So shout out to everybody watching on OneFootball. Thank you. If you like what you see, go check out the Cooligans. The link is in the description. You can subscribe to our channel as well. All right, take care, everybody.